morning and happy Friday. It's another day of Mavens of Manufacturing. If you're here and watching us, be sure to drop a hello or comment or question into the comment section because I would love to pull you into the conversation. I just want to give a huge shout out to Todd White Metalworks. I love Todd and their family. Just saw them at 3D Experience World. Met his wife, Maddie, his daughters, Zoe and Sailor. Sailor is about to turn 11 and she knows how to CNC machine, and she already has a business plan going for a product that she's working on, and love them to death. So huge shout out to them and thank you for your swag. I really appreciate it. We already got comments rolling in. We got Amber and Tim. And we got the Wilborn fam online. Thanks, you guys, for joining us. But to our guest today, I have Jordan Yates with us. Hello, Jordan. How are you doing?
Hi, I am good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm super excited to have you on because your energy is just infectious, and I love everything that you're doing. And I was really excited that you said yes to coming on to Meaghan. So,
Girl, that was not even a question. I was just like, tell me when.
yes, I was super excited. And I know you're close to Nikki Gonzalez too, part of Automation Ladies, and I get a sense of FOMO every time I heard you guys hung out once.
Yeah. It was
I
just
was like,
it just fell together perfectly. I was like, girl, her and I and Allie were talking about something, and I was like, I have some tea to tell you, but you know what? It's too much to text. You live an hour away. Can I come over and tell you? Because this is too much. So we FaceTimed Allie, and we were all just like, talking together. So it was like one of those things. It happened so seamlessly. But since then, like, our schedules have been so chaotic. We've not been able to hang out like in person, but one day.
that's super. But yeah, I think we're all trying to plan like a manufacturing ladies just getaway. So I'm super excited about that. And maybe that's something we could get sponsored or something. I don't know.
That'd be
But
wonderful.
I want to get to your story. So you're the marketing engineer, and I want to touch that on that a little later because you're the first person that I've seen with marketing and engineer put together in your title. And I think it's great that you're doing that. But first, I want to get to know what your position is at Knowles Precision Devices. So can you provide us a little background information on, how you got started in this great sector and how it led to you where you are now with Knowles?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny because people are always like, marketing engineer, like, that's really cool. How'd you come up with that? And I'm like, actually, Knowles put out a job posting for marketing engineer, and now I'm a marketing engineer. It's just my job title.
Cool.
So I've never asked them how they decided to make that. I guess it's because I'm technically in the marketing department and I do the technical content engineering. So I guess that equals marketing engineer. I don't know if it's much deeper than that, but how I got started. So I graduated back in 2020, and my majority of experience was in oil and gas, but oil and gas was non-existent at the time. And so I was like, okay, now what? And so at the job fair, there was a lot of companies I was unfamiliar with. Long story short, I ended up as a sales engineer for an industrial manufacturing distributor and integrator, and did that for about a year. Within that time, I realized that a very effective way to get leads and to get into new key accounts was to, have a good LinkedIn presence and post like pictures and videos with my demos, because then I wasn't having to cold call as much. So it almost like sparked out of being lazy. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is fun. I like this. And my LinkedIn followers really liked it. And it kind of turned into something and took a life of its own. And it was really fun because like at that job, I was going to like 20 manufacturing facilities a week. And so I was seeing all this stuff up close, and I had really awesome demos all the time. And then things were not working out well with that company in particular. So I was like, I need a change. And I realized that the skill set I had of being somebody who can make videos or, just have like a more outgoing personality when need be, and having the technical knowledge of an engineer and the applications was actually something that was pretty unique. So when I went to like start applying for jobs, I was like, kind of shocked by the kind of jobs that I found. And there were things I never heard of before, like being a marketing engineer. And so I was like, I kind of want to do something with the fact that I have this LinkedIn presence, the fact that I like doing content. But I still like wanted to stick with engineering because it's too soon for me to get out of engineering. I like it too much. And so I came across the Knowles job post and I was interviewing with them and then like a software service tech company and then a few other ones. But this job was fully remote. And I was like, that sounds pretty nice. Like, I think I could work from home. Like, that sounds enjoyable. Then I could have more time for my side ventures. And so took that job. And yeah, the rest has been history. I think in 4 days hit my 1 year there. It's flown by. It's basically like, I can't thank Knowles enough. Like, I love the company I work for. And I could say that I've not said that about every job I have. Like, I don't just say that because I work there now. Like, I genuinely love what I do. And I guess you asked me what a marketing engineer actually does. At Knowles, I'm what they would refer to as the power electronics expert. So basically, we're a ceramic capacitor manufacturer. There's lots of different kinds of capacitors, like there's aluminum, there's tantalum, et cetera, but we do ceramic and we do specialty applications. And we're like a worldwide company. We're very big, but there's like this, gap between the guys who are experts at the like actual capacitors and then the sales guys who need to know, hey, like what applications do these capacitors actually go inside of? So my job is to research like the circuits around these capacitors, understand the applications from like high level down to circuit level, and then explain to the sales guys who aren't really that technical. Like, they're not engineers for the most part. They're more account managers. So they're really sharp, but they don't know every circuit that's ever existed. Like, and I don't think anybody does. So I'll pick an application and I'll break it down and say, this is where I think you can sell our capacitors. And then the product managers will be like, or product engineers will be like, yeah, but this line particularly is where it goes in here. So it's kind of like a constant researching puzzle, which is why I love it so much. And then I create like blog posts and some, support. But sorry, I've been talking for like 5 minutes straight.
No, I think you hit on a lot of good like topics because before I quit corporate and started Mavens and doing my own thing, that was one of the things that I noticed is that the engineers and the sales team were really siloed from one another and they needed to work together because you're selling what they're designing and creating. So how are you going to do that if you don't have that relationship? So that's why I thought the title of your position was really interesting because I'm used to seeing sales engineer. And usually a sales engineer was someone who had an engineering background, but then they also got tied into, the engineering portion of it because they were more sociable than some of the other engineers that I know. So as a technical writer, I've met a lot of socially awkward engineers who just don't like talking to people.
So you
and
mean
it was
most
really,
of them.
yeah. So it's like really hard getting information out of them, but you need to have those relationships with them because they know the technical information. So I think it's really cool that you're helping to bridge that gap between the engineers and the salespeople, because I think there's a misconception that if you're a salesperson in engineering or manufacturing, you have to be an engineer. And that's not necessarily the case. Like, your skill set is your sales skills. So I like that you're bridging that connection and doing it in a fun way, because your channels are fun. Like, they're very educational. They're not boring. And I think that's what we need more of in terms of the sector to like inspire the next generation to come. We can't have these boring videos anymore. I do want to bring up all these comments because people are flooding in.
Hi, Ian.
I love Ian. Ian, I got your back all the time. If you're looking for videography or photography, Ian is your man. Go
Literally,
see him.
somebody asked me the other day if I could help them like with their video stuff because they want it to be really high quality. And I'm like, I really want to say yes, but I'm actually going to point you in someone else's direction. I was like, I could bring a good personality in, but if you want high quality video, that's probably going to be Ian.
He's your guy. Go talk to him. We have Heather Go Sailor. She's commenting on the little girl that I know who knows how to see. We have Shannon here. Hi, Shannon. Thanks for joining us. Angela, I haven't seen or
Hi.
talked to you in forever. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. And then we have Erin, podcaster interviewing a podcaster. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. That's
These live
okay.
comments are so fun. This makes me want to start doing lives. I love this.
I know, right? And then we have Angela. Jordan has awesome soldering skills or
Soldering.
soldering.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I always do that. Like when I first started my soldering videos, I would call it soldering. And then I'm like, oh God, I'm going to be instantly discredited. No, it's solder. I know it's soldering.
So there is a video out of how difficult the English language is, and I'm going to post that video because my brain is pronouncing it how I read it first, and I haven't had enough coffee.
No,
It's
I literally do it
solder.
all the time. And I solder almost every day. And I still call it soldering sometimes. And you know what? I think it should be able to be said either way. And that's my official stance.
Right. But we're going to dive into that a little bit later. And then Hank, good afternoon, everyone. Hi,
Hashtag
Hank.
your board of directors.
Yes. I hope your daughters are listening in. And then finding more pathways for women to get into STEM careers is critical right now. Wow. I can't see. I got to stop. Jordan has shown that soldering is a great getaway into the bigger STEM world. Yes, Erin, I 100% agree. And then Angela, what? Engineers are socially awkward?
Oh, Angela.
Yes. I can definitely say that. Maybe not so much the women engineers, because there's very few women engineers that I've met who I needed to talk to for stories. So that's still up for debate. But most of the engineers that I've met to get information for stories have been men. And they've been, so this is why we need more women engineers.
I
Because
mean, yeah.
that's why we need them. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was their Failing for You podcast.
Mhm.
And one of the things that you do is you're developing technical content, and that's what I named this episode, how to create technical and relatable content. So
Mhm.
when you're creating your content, what are some of the top things that you're taking in consideration to really draw your audience in? Like, what are the must-haves for you in terms of your podcast and YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of random, but it kind of fluctuates based on like what my interest is at the moment. So my top
Okay.
things I would say is like, okay, if I found like soldering interesting lately, I'm going to make a post about this technical concept because I genuinely find it interesting. Because I think that there's like this issue when people create technical content is that they don't actually find it interesting and it shows. And so that's why it either comes out monotone and boring, or it comes out as very like forced
Mm-hmm.
enthusiasm. Like when I was at the Hughes Tech's trade show on Wednesday, somebody was like, I was there letting me record a video, and he's like, how do you keep up this fake enthusiasm all day? And I was like, sir, this is really cool. What do you mean? I'm not faking this. Like, are you looking at the same machine I am? Because like that CNC process is awesome. Like, what do you mean fake? And I also said, I also spend almost all day, every day alone. I'm out and about with other people with similar interests. I'm excited. So I
Yeah.
say all that to say back to your question. I think the first thing you have to do is either be genuinely interested in what
Mhm.
you're doing in the technical content, or find a way to like, I don't know how to say trick yourself, but convince yourself it is interesting. So the podcast episode I'm actually releasing next week is going to be titled something around love letters to technical content. So I have this process where it's not my official process, but I'm trying to find a way to make it to where someone else could use it. So imagine you're about to make a video about cobots. Well, before
Okay.
just going on and doing like the features and benefits and all of that, I want you to think about like how you could put yourself in a position where you feel genuinely passionate about this subject. So you could do this physically and write it down, or you can, just think through it in your head. So I do like a point of view practice. Like my point of view is, say I'm a factory worker who does a redundant task all day. My back hurts really bad, and oh my gosh, now they're replacing my redundant task with a cobot and I get to do more desk work. And then you kind of practice with, dear cobot, I love you so much. You've made my life so much better since you've been implemented into this factory. I cannot thank you enough. My back is feeling better. I have more energy at the end of the day to spend time with my kids. Just something silly like that, where it's like you're writing a love letter to this
Mm-hmm.
product. And I know it sounds silly, but it's like, then you can think, what is genuinely really awesome? And after doing that exercise, you can say, like, okay, like I can actually feel a little excited about this. Like you're practicing liking something, because not all
Yeah.
technical content stuff is easy to like or enjoy, but it's kind of like the effect of when you smile, it actually makes you feel happier. So if you're upset, just keep making yourself smile, and then eventually
Yeah.
you'll start laughing. So it's kind of like tricking your brain into making something kind of dry more interesting. So I'm going to do a full episode on that and release it next week, and something like along the lines of, love letters to your technical content.
I think that's awesome. So right away, I'm thinking of Jimmy Fallon's skit on his night where he would, what was that skit where he would take like suggestions or something and he would pretend to like write notes or memos
Mhm.
to things, and it was like his voiceover and just his facial reaction. So I think that's a great idea. And I agree with you 100%. Like, not every product out there is exciting.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you know what they're being used for and how that is providing value, that's a great way to think about it too. So I used to work for a photochemical etching company, and
Mhm.
they made really thin, small parts. When you look at them, yeah, some of them really, really interesting because of the designs that they had. And the question that I had most of the time was like, what the heck is this thing and what is it used for?
Mhm.
And it was that curiosity that I had about it, where I was like, okay, so this goes into this component that goes into a rocket that's getting launched up to Mars and doing all this kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
that's where I was getting excited about it,
Yeah.
because it's like putting the puzzle pieces together for the bigger
Yeah.
picture. And I think writing a love letter to it is hilarious and fun and all in one. So that's such a great idea. I'm gonna start doing that now too, and I'm looking forward to that episode.
Yeah.
Um, so your soldering skill set, I'm really excited for this next area of conversation. You linked up with Black Girls Do Engineer,
Mhm.
and you has that STEM day already happened, or is
It's
that?
tomorrow.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
fantastic. Super excited. So, can you tell us how that all came to be?
Yeah,
And,
for sure. So Nikki Gonzalez, Queen Nikki, she reached out to me when we were like, we kind of knew each other, kind of didn't, but it was when I first moved to Houston, like 4 or 5 months ago. And she was like, hey, I saw you moved to Houston. This is kind of random, but like, what are you doing this Saturday? And I was like, girl, I don't have a life. I don't know anyone here. Like, what's up? And so she's like, can I call you? So she calls me and told me that like, she was supposed to MC for the Black Girls Do Engineer like annual event, and that like she had some family stuff come up. Long story short, like she asked if I could fill in for her, and I was like, yeah, like that sounds cool. Why not? So I went and did that. And when I went there and I met Cara and saw what the ladies were doing for all these young women, I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like really impactful. Like they are on it. Like they just have an amazing program. All the girls were super cool. The speakers they had were amazing. The event looked beautiful. Like it was just a 10 out of 10 event. And
That's
so
awesome.
I've been trying to like, keep up with Cara and what she's been doing, because that girl is always up to something. And I saw like a month and a half ago, maybe, I can't remember exactly when, that they were doing STEM Day Houston, and that there would be hands-on learning events that were centered around engineering. And I was like, well, I've recently gotten a hands-on learning thing that I've been doing. And so I messaged her and I said, hey girl, any chance you'd be interested in letting me teach the girls to solder at STEM Day Houston? I was like, I will find a way to utilize my LinkedIn followers to get everything donated. Like, I do not want to add any more stress to you. I just want to be able to, provide this for you guys, and I will get everything paid for. No worries about that. And she said, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's it. Cool. Yeah. Like, let's do it. And so then I was like putting the list together of all the things we need. And I was like, oh goodness, what did I get myself into? Like, what if I can't get all these supplies donated? This is a lot. I made a really big promise. But luckily, all of you LinkedIn people are so amazing. We got everything bought. Like, we are fully ready. I have all the kits together. You know, we got our soldering kits, the thing that they're actually soldering, the light, and then the bag. And then my mom printed these awesome stickers and their batteries and just everything that we need, all the tools. And we're going to be doing that tomorrow. Do I have 15 more kits to prep tonight? Yes. But it will be ready tomorrow at 9:30. So we're going to be teaching 8 girls at a time how to solder. And I think it's going to be really fun because I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I think it'll be cool. I think it's a really effective way to give them instant gratification of having the light to take home with them and realize like, this is engineering. I can do engineering, you know? And so I think it'd just be really empowering for them.
I think it's really cool that you were proactive and you reached out to Kara. And for those of you watching and tuning in, if you haven't heard Kara's story, you can find it on Mavens of Manufacturing YouTube channel. She started Black Girls Do Engineer about 3 years ago, and it's grown quite significantly. And it all was inspired by her daughter, who came to her and said, you know, I want to be a computer engineer. And she shared with me, like, I never really showed or shared what I did as an engineer with my kids. So I was kind of just taken back that she actually came up to me and said that that's what she wanted to do. And Kara came from the gas industry. She's a chemical engineer. And, you know, she was usually the only woman and usually the only Black woman in the areas that she was working. And so to set something up, I mean, I've been preaching this ever since I've started Mavens. Representation matters. Like, if we want to start diversifying this sector here in the United States, we have to bring in more women. We have to bring in more people of color. We have to, you know, just keep diversifying it. And Kara's organization is just a great example of, you know, why representation matters. And then you helping these little girls out, they're gonna get so excited. I think that it's gonna be a fun activity. And the other thing is when you made that announcement on LinkedIn, it's so important to use your social channels to make those connections. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because a lot of manufacturers are still complaining about, well, there's not enough talent in our area to bring in new workers. And it's like, you have to be proactive to get in front of the next generation. And you are providing a great template to show how that can work. So anyone tuning in, take notes, because what Jordan did is actually, it was very successful. And now we're going to help these little girls like know how to solder. And it just took reaching out to specific people and getting them excited as well too. So kudos to you. And I hope you take lots of pictures and video and share that day with us, because I think that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. And I do have to admit though, like on the note of representation, like I used to be very gung-ho about like, we need to, like, how do I put this? When I first started in my career post-college, I was very much so like on this mission of proving that women can do engineering because of my story that I had with my first employer out of college, basically saying, we don't hire women for this because like women make bad sales engineers, like barely let me get the job. So I had this whole like vendetta of like, I'm going to prove that women are so awesome and I'm going to be the best at this job. And it was a bit of like a negatively motivated thing. And then I realized after like 6 months or so, I had a few existential crises and I was like, this actually does not matter at all. And then I was like, none of this matters. And then I got to the point of like, you know what? Like, I don't need to spend so much time proving that women can do this. Like, this is stupid. I know I can do this. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I need to stop evangelizing that women can do it because you know what? Me just being an engineer, that's enough social justice warrior. Like, that's all I need to do. So then I kind of took a break from, you know, any representation, any trying, because I was exhausted. I was just so beaten down. I was like, forget this. I'm a woman. I'm an engineer. That's enough. And then, you know, I started getting active on the LinkedIn stuff again after quitting that job. And then I realized, no, it is important for the representation stuff. That is important. Like, I do need to keep advocating for women, because not everybody is me and is going to tell someone to shove it when they say that women can't do it and say, yes, I can. I was like, I need to be a bigger advocate for us, because I can't just assume that every other woman or person that is discriminated against will fight for this themselves like I fought for myself. So I was like, okay, I do need to start normalizing women in engineering again. Let me get back to that. So I started creating the content, started doing that. And once again, I think my approach was still kind of like, by doing and being, it was just like its own thing and in a positive way without shoving it down people's throats. But then I was like, this still isn't proactive enough. So when I came across Cara, who is being so proactive, and the automation ladies and you, where you guys are legitimately giving these people platforms and genuinely being proactive and intentional about it, I was like, I need to be a part of this. I absolutely, I need to be on board. I need to start being more proactive myself. And so that's why I felt even more passionate about like helping the Black girls to engineer, because I was like, I genuinely do want these girls to know, each and every one of them, that like, this is a path for them. This is a place that they are welcome. This is a place they can excel. But also on the same token, if you don't want to be an engineer, girl, you do not have to be. Like,
right.
It's up to
That's
you.
nice to do it. Yeah.
But I definitely took a weird route of getting to this place, but I haven't always been amazing at like advocating. And I think the real like hack, or I don't know, method to it is connecting with people that you see are doing things that you think are awesome, like you, like Nikki and Allie, like Cara, and then latch on and grow with them. You know, I mean, we're a community. We should be growing together. We don't have to do this by ourselves. And I know that's kind of like a little tangent, but that's just something a bit of self-reflection of my journey with it, that it's okay if you're not always doing the most. Like, just do what you can, do what feels right for you at the time, and it'll change over time.
Absolutely. Well, and I don't think you're the only one that has gone that route, because I've done that too, where I'm like, okay, this doesn't really matter. And then I was self-conscious about, okay, if I talk about this, some guys are going to get mad at me, and I don't really want to like push the men out of here, because a lot of my great mentors have been men. And it's like, I don't want them to feel bad. So that's why I purposely picked Mavens for the title of my podcast, because I didn't want it to be another like woman thing that was going to make guys feel like, oh, well, she is against us and not for us, kind of thing, because that's not it at all. But to hit on your point, like when I met Sailor for the first time at IMTS, you know, I asked her, I was like, oh, is engineering something you want to do, or manufacturing something you want to do? And she's like, well, I don't know, you're a girl, I'm a girl, Barb's a girl, but we're the only women in this room. And I looked around, and she was right. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But that's why we need you to come in, so that we can level the playing field. And she's like, I don't know. And then at 3D Experience World, she was like, I think I might want to just be a flight attendant. And I'm like, you can be whatever you want to be. Like, I just think it's cool that you know how to CNC machine, and you're so confident in yourself already at 10 years old, because she was going up to people and shaking their hand and, you know, introducing herself, and she was really well spoken. And I give props to Todd and Maddie, because they instilled that confidence in her. And I think, you know, little girls need to see, oh, there's other girls in this, and they're doing fine, and, you know, they're happy and they're enjoying it. And they need to see that, so that they can have that confidence to make that choice. So that's why, like, I just, it's such an exciting time. We are getting a lot of comments.
What's up, people?
So, Angela, cute kits for the girls. That is awesome. And then we have Courtney, who's also from Automation Ladies.
Hi, Courtney.
For joining us. Some of my fondest memories of college were in the lab at the soldering station. I don't think I ever soldered. I think I did in high school, but it was for jewelry. And then, hey, get them excited in trades and STEM young. Love what is happening. Yes. I still want to meet Hank's daughters, because they watch Mavens all the time in Automation Ladies. And then they'll ask Hank, hey, can we do this? And then he'll like take them and try to teach them whatever he can, which is awesome. Angela, one of my colleagues from NASA, Glenn, is Diane Centeno Gomez. If I crucified her name. I apologize. A Black Hispanic engineer I've known since the late 80s. Fantastic woman. Angela, please introduce us because I would love to have a conversation with her. And then
Bonjour.
Philippe, bonjour. He joined us last time. And yes, preach it, ladies. So this is a good kind of segue into my next question that I had with you. I feel like there's an awareness issue. And we talked about representation matters. And I think what you did with Cara and actually reaching out to her is a great way to bring awareness to the different types of things that are available in this sector. What else do you think we as a sector can do or companies can do to bring awareness to their communities about engineering and manufacturing? There is a statistic out there that, you know, the number of women in engineering specific fields is really low. And some women who enter into it, like I talked to a student from Michigan, and she's like, I need to find a way to bring in more girls into this program. And we're kind of stuck. We don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So do you have any thoughts about that? Like, what ideas do you have in getting girls excited about some areas where they might not feel like they fit in?
It's hard because it's such a like a meta question of how do we do this for all? Like how like what really is a good approach? Because there's the one thing where it's like, of course, video is awesome and like showing people that are relatable to you, like whether it's your demographic or your gender. And it's like, but then we also don't want to be putting women in videos that aren't actually engineers just so it like looks like they're engineers, you know? So it's kind of like hard because it's like, well,
which happens.
Yeah. Like what happens first? Like, do we pretend to have women in this industry, then show what they look like in it? And then, you know, trick the women like, yeah, you could come in. Yeah. Look at this woman doing it. And she's like a paid model. Or do you like, you know, just show, look how cool our technology is. And then you go to more like schools. I feel like schools are a really good place to start while they're young, because I feel like kids, like they just want to see something cool. Maybe you do something that's like hands-on learning and you do it at like I don't know, you partner with schools in the area and you get in like elementary, middle school, and you just show it to everyone. It's not like a boys club or just to an engineering club, because an engineering club may be more boy centric. So it's like, if you could get in front of more general audiences and show them this stuff at a younger age and then tell them like, hey, like this is something that's for everybody, could be a good start. But then there is the route of, you know, the social media. And if you have people who represent different types of groups, have them in that social media, you know, like have them in the videos doing this stuff. Rather, maybe they're not an engineer, maybe they're a technician, maybe they just work on the shop floor. But I feel like video is very impactful. And I feel like that's a big way that people communicate these days. And we try really hard to balance that line of like, are we doing it for like good PR, or are we actually trying to show that like these people are doing this job? So I would say if you do want to do the video, maybe just try to make it authentic to who's actually on your team and make it approachable. And if you don't have any women on your team or people of color, then make it more about the product maybe to entice them. I don't know. I just feel like it's hard to say a good answer, but I would say maybe less focus on the actual companies and more focus on individuals. Like if you are an individual who does represent a minority in the field, maybe you should take the initiative to put more content out there and kind of, you know, champion your demographic. Like to me, it's a balance. I don't have a great answer for it, if I'm being honest, but there's a lot of different ways you could go about it. But I would say just start trying. And don't wait until you have the perfect solution. And if it goes well, it goes well. If not, you'll learn from it. And then you can, you know, change your method as you go. But don't do nothing in fear of doing it wrong. Then you're not doing anything.
Right. And I think that's a great point too, because I've had a lot of people from different communities reach out to me and they're like, well, how do we make these changes? And I'm like, well, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Like, are you just asking because you actually want to make a change? Or are you just asking because you just want to be part of the conversation and not do anything about it? And a great example I have is Devin Russell from Elk River. He's amazing. He reached out to me. He's like, how do I, start this conversation. And he actually started the conversation in Elk River. He's now volunteering some of his time during his work week to visit the school on a regular basis and help the tech ed teacher whenever he needs help with stuff. And he's teaching the kids what they're actually doing at his company. And now he's trying to start this whole volunteer program with other manufacturers. So if you really have a passion about it and you really want to fix the problem, you're going to find a way to do it. And you don't have to be perfect, like you said. Like, as long as you're doing 1% better every single day, that's what matters. And we have some really great comments around that. Heather said nuts, bolts, and thingamajig summer camps. Any manufacturer summer camp would be a great place for you to be a guest speaker. 100% agree. She actually dropped the link for that organization. I highly suggest you guys go see that. I know about that camp, and they're doing amazing things. So definitely check that out. We have Rihanna. We had a Women in Metals middle school summer camp in our district, but it couldn't find funding. It was popular, but it's hard in a public school. 100% agree with that comment. And this is where I'm encouraging manufacturers. Like, I know some companies think, well, our knowledge is more valuable than our money. No.
They go together very well, actually. Put a little bit together.
They go together very well. So if there's a way that you can either donate components or parts or equipment or open up your checkbooks, that would be really helpful.
I mean, that is a way. If you don't want to be someone who's like speaking out, then donate to people who you think are doing a good job that can support the message that you support. Like, there's many ways to support a cause.
Yeah. And that's sad to me that was a thing. And then they couldn't keep going with it.
Everyone go fund them.
Yes, go fund them. And then we have Amber. Yes, I was just saying be authentic. And then Women in Manufacturing also have summer camps depending on the chapter. That's also a good place. So I didn't know they had summer camps.
I want to go to summer camp.
Yeah, I'm part of WIM. I'm going to look that up because that's awesome. And First Robotics has a list of searchable teams in your area as well. So that's the other thing. And that's one of the things I'm working on right now in my community. Not every single community has a First Robotics team. And I just talked to a gentleman and he is like, if you're next to a community that does, 95% of the time, if you're starting something, they love to help other communities start a robotics team. So just reach out, find your resources, and be proactive.
Find someone who's doing it in a way that you think is good and ask them how they did it. And then they probably, if they're out there helping people, will probably want to help you. Then grow those efforts. Like, you don't need to be super original and come up with things on your own. Like, just look to someone who's doing it the way that you think is a good way. Ask them for help. Ask a bunch of people for help. And then actually take the advice they give you and start doing something. And then put your own twist on it. Or just join in with them.
I love that. So Heather also said, give me a call. Heather, I'm going to reach out to you after this because, yes, I want to get involved. And Angela, I'm on the board of WIM Texas and would love to learn.
Queens.
We're making connections.
Yes, guys, if your summer camp needs camp counselors, let me know because I've always wanted to go to summer camp and I know I'm too old now. But I could be a counselor.
We'll make a summer camp for adults. Screw it. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be an engineering summer camp for adults. We'll get the Wilborns involved. We'll get Allie involved. We'll get everybody involved. It'll be fun. And then we'll film it. Well, Jordan, this has been awesome and fun. And I wasn't expecting anything less from you because you're just an amazing human being. And again, I love your energy and we need more Jordans with your energy, advocating for women in engineering. Because again, we're having an issue with bringing them in and connecting them. So before I let you go, do you have any final closing thoughts or a big ask that you would like to ask our audience?
Goodness. What to say? Let's see. If you guys are the ones commenting and saying that what just happened to my thing?
Did you lose
Sorry
something?
about that. My phone's connected to the laptop and I got a call and it made my thing jump off.
Oh,
I was going to say, if you guys are commenting, reaching out, and you have plans, link up with us. Let us use our platforms to help you because, like I said, with the Black Girls Do Engineer soldering event, like, I didn't realize that like I had the power to ask people for help and that they would say yes and that they would help. So if you have a good cause and you want us to be a part of that with you, reach out to us and maybe we can link up or we can link you up with the right person. But we want to help. We want to be a part of these causes that you guys are doing and use our platforms to do that, or, you know, our time, however we can help. But just reach out, follow up. And I mean, I'm open to hearing things and I would always love to partner with Meaghan on anything. So if she's in, I'm in. And yeah, just don't be afraid to reach out and just keep trying, keep doing your best, and don't get overwhelmed when it feels like, you know, there's so many problems out there and you don't know where to begin. Just start with something. Something is better than nothing. And you don't have to be good your first try.
I'm going to definitely repeat that too, because I feel like some people are afraid to ask for help. And I'm a very persistent person. So I will keep asking someone something until they tell me no flat out or just tell me to go somewhere. And I'm perfectly fine with that. But me personally as well too, like, I'm still on my own. So I'm not quite at the monetary level that I want to be, but if it's something small, like with Black Girls Do Engineer, I was more than happy to help with that as much as I could. And that's how I am with anybody else. If I can help, I would love to help. But if I can't on a monetary level,
and we can ask people, we can ask someone else.
Yeah, I will connect you with someone who can, because I know there's a lot of passionate people out there and they just don't know where to go or how to help in those regards. So don't be afraid to ask either one of us, and we'll definitely try to help you guys. So I do have is it Rihanna?
Woo!
I can't pronounce her name. I'm sorry. I'm messing it up. I got to talk to you personally to get your name pronunciation. I am trying to get a panel together around this topic. Thanks so much for the
invigoration.
There we go. I need more coffee. Hi, I'm the writer and I'm not pronouncing words right. Awesome discussion today, ladies. Thanks for having us. Rhiannon, reach out to me, because if you need a panel, I can get some ladies together for you, or guys, whatever you're looking for, and help you fill up that panel. So thanks for dropping that note, and I'll contact you after this episode. Jordan, thank you so much for joining Mavens today. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
If anybody wants to reach out to you or ask you questions about, you know, your upcoming adventures, how can they get a hold of you and where should they go?
I would say the best place I post the most consistently is LinkedIn. So just Jordan Yates on LinkedIn, or you could go to Jordan Yates Plus Engineering, my YouTube channel. Lots of fun things there. I have the Failing for You podcast. I'm in a lot of places, but LinkedIn encompasses most of them. So you could just message me there. And if you want any help with your content creation or, you know, getting these technical messages out, I also have my own like small marketing company for doing technical content, and it's at jordanyatesmarketing.com. So you could find me there as well.
Awesome. Well, Jordan, thank you for joining us. And to everyone who joined us today and dropped in the comment section, thank you. I appreciate your support 100%. Stay tuned for a message from my sponsor today. It's Fresh Horizons. Everybody's always asking about my cool merch, and they are the ones behind the scenes. They're a small family-owned business in Beloit, Wisconsin. I try to support local from my own communities. Bob and Jackie are the owners, and they're simply amazing human beings, and they're actually getting more into the digital realm. So everyone who has complimented my digital business card that I have that brings all of my websites up, they are the ones responsible for that. So make sure you check them out after you see this short video from them. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye. Thanks,
Take
Meaghan.
care of one another. Have fun. Thanks, Jordan. Bye. This episode of Mavens has been sponsored by Fresh Horizons Group. Fresh Horizons Group is a family-run company that was founded on the premise of helping organizations and businesses better tell their story through high-quality branded apparel and promotional items. Freshen up your brand, by contacting Fresh Horizons today at freshhorizonsgroup.com.